In 2008, Pixar made a film that would get the world to fall in love with a plucky little trash
Wally.
compactor. His name, Satan.
What's going on, my golden people, and welcome back to PLC 85. Before we start the video, I have two things to say. One, if you're new, consider subscribing. What we do here is everything new, and I must say new, with gaming and funny reaction videos. Everything new games, new topics, new everything. If it's not here on the channel, check my Twitter. And the second thing I have to say, hey, you keep typing in PLC 85. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You keep typing in PLC 85, but you keep forgetting to hit that subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Stop typing in PLC 85. If you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, you'll know exactly when I post everything new with, once again, gaming and funny reaction videos. Now today we are going to be doing a reaction video, guys, and it's going to be Film Theory. Is Wally Satan? But let's find out if Wally is actually the devil. This is gonna be funny.
In 2008, Pixar made a film that would get the world to fall in love with a plucky little trash
Wally.
compactor. His name, Satan. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, a show that reminds you to put on your Sunday clothes when you feel down and out. You know, feels just like yesterday when I was talking about the 2008 Pixar classic WALL-E. Oh wait, it was just yesterday. Yeah, a few weeks ago while I was writing a theory further proving how everyone on board the Axiom spacecraft is unwittingly participating in cannibalism, I learned that apparently I'm not the only person to see a sinister underbelly to this heartwarming story of robot love in space. Back in 2017, a Reddit user by the name Vexelius had a wild idea. What if WALL-E, the robot, was Satan, and the whole space opera was a retelling of the biblical story of humanity's downfall in the Garden of Eden? Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds insane, right? I've been doing this a long time, and I have a general sense of what makes a plausible theory from a bat guano crazy one. Most of the time, at least. Like, seriously, where would anyone even begin to get an idea like this? Well, consider the following. The biblical story of the Garden of Eden basically boils down to a woman named Eve getting tricked by Satan to deliver the apple of enlightenment to man. This results in humanity unlocking godlike knowledge, like some sort of DLC patch. God gets mad that suddenly everyone's embarrassed by their fig leaf attire and throws them out of paradise, dooming mankind to a lifetime of misery and hard labor. To quote from Genesis 3:18, "Cursed is the ground because of you. In pain you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground, since from it you were taken. For dust you are, and to dust you will return." Yeah, real feel-good story, that one. But now let's look at the story of WALL-E, which boils down to a robot named Eve receiving a seedling from WALL-E. A seedling that unlocks knowledge in humanity.
These are called farms. Humans will put seeds in the ground, and they grow food like pizza.
Good night, Captain.
Psst, computer, define dancing.
That knowledge causes the humans to give up their carefree trip through the cosmos with unlimited cupcake in a cup refills in order to return to Earth, where they're not only forced to get out of their hover chairs and use their legs for literally the first time ever in their lives, but they're surprised by the fact that this planet is a bit of a fixer-upper.
Farming! You kids are gonna grow all kinds of plants. Vegetable plants, pizza plants.
Once again, humanity's given up paradise for hard labor, farming out of the harsh wastelands of the Earth. And it all starts with the actions of one little robot named WALL-E filling the Satan role by giving Eve the seedling of enlightenment. And all of this is without even mentioning WALL-E's love of musicals, his favorite, Hello Dolly. Just saying, wake up here, sheeple. Long story short, in 529 words, Vexelius outlines his magnum opus, a theory that received widespread coverage across the internet. not. But does the theory hold up? Today we're getting biblical and psychological to answer the age-old question, is WALL-E Satan? What is paradise? Was humanity lured out of the spaceship of Eden by a little yellow robot in love? All of that and more in today's episode as we see whether Vixelius has a point. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you all know what this means. It's Morty time.
Leave your theories in the comments.
Alright, let's see. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this so far. Do you believe that that's
Now, when
actually
you
a
break
thing?
this theory
Let's hear
down,
his
there are
theory
just
though.
some evidence points
Let's
that
hear
can't
the
be
theory.
denied. WALL-E the movie has a character named Eve. The story of creation also has a character named Eve. They both bring back a plant that unlocks knowledge in humanity, getting us to question our place in the world and ultimately leave a seemingly idyllic life in paradise, whether that's the Garden of Eden or on board the Axiom. I mean, doesn't get much more clear-cut than that, so theory confirmed then? Well, almost. You see,
Melvin,
to me,
I want to
the
see
maker
what
or
you
breaker
think.
of this
I know
theory
that you
boils
always
down
have
to
really
one
good
main
comments,
question.
Melvin.
Is the Axiom really a stand-in for paradise? Sure, a lot of the small stuff around the edges of this theory line up real nicely, but the central question is whether humanity is ever really in paradise in the first place. And what I mean by that is whether the Axiom as a cruise liner spaceship is able to fulfill all of humanity's needs in the same way that the Garden of Eden is said to be paradise in the biblical retelling. So that then seems to be our best place to start. The Garden of Eden was introduced in the book of Genesis,
Yes.
the first book of the Hebrew Bible and the Christian Old Testament. There are certainly plenty of passing mentions of it elsewhere, and obviously tons of artwork along the way, but in general, we're going to try to stick to the original source material's description, which, shockingly, doesn't give you a whole lot
I
to
don't know
work
if you would
with.
consider
There are
that the
only 10
original,
short
but we'll leave it
verses
as that.
actually describing the garden itself. 4 of them are dedicated to its rivers, and a solid 0 of them talk about what day-to-day life in the garden was actually like, or even meant to be like. I mean, here, let me just show you. This is pretty much all you have to go on. Quote, "And out of the ground the Lord God made to spring up every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil." Blah, blah, blah. Here's all that boring river stuff, and here's the rest. "The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and keep it," yada, yada, yada. Don't eat the apple, stupid. Oh yeah, and then there's the last verse where they run around naked. Final quote, "And the man and his wife were both naked and were not ashamed." That's it. That's what you got. Not a lot to go off of, so we're gonna have to read between the lines here. Basically, what we can infer is what you'd expect from years of seeing this story retold a bunch of times. Eden is a beautiful garden where there is no shame, endless food, and pure innocence. God's big issue with the apple of enlightenment is that suddenly humanity is granted knowledge of good and evil, implying that paradise is a place of blissful ignorance to the bad in the world. So, does the Axiom fit the bill? Well, yeah. The people don't seem to need jobs, they get unlimited beverage refills, and they're carted around by neat hover chairs that prevent them from ever having to walk around. The temperature is always 72 degrees, they have no knowledge of whether it's actually day or night, and robots take care of their children. Just like God's springing up every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, we have robots and screens able to deliver whatever we want to watch and eat, assuming of course that it's not ground human flesh like I've guessed in previous theories. Essentially, it's a world where your biggest decision on a day-to-day basis is whether you should go to the virtual golf course or order another hot dog. Nobody has to worry about putting IKEA furniture together, and they can chat with their best buds while getting their hair done by polite robots who are very complimentary.
I know, honey. Men.
This does seem to be living the dream, as presumably there's no poverty, no war, no stressful work schedules, no dangerous weather conditions to interrupt your game of virtual tennis. According to the commentary on the WALL-E DVD, director Andrew Stanton said that the people aboard the Axiom, after hundreds of years of being immobile, have regressed into big babies, with shrinking arms and legs and ears that aren't fully formed. Again, if paradise is truly defined to be a state of perpetual innocence while being supervised by an all-powerful being, then yeah, being able to return to the state of a baby in your hover chair while the AI cares for you is the literal definition of paradise. As if all of these parallels weren't enough, eating the apple is the event
see
that
what you're saying.
introduces the idea of death into the creation myth. In Genesis 2:17, God warns Adam and Eve, quote, "But of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat, you shall die." Likewise, on board the Axiom, people live long lives. When we first meet Captain McCree, we scan past a wall of portraits, 5 people who served as captain long before him, each with an average tenure of around 133 years, implying that people on board the ship live a long time. Adding up the captain's terms for these 5 people and you get yourself a whopping 666 years. 666. Wait, hold on. Let me do that math again. 2,248 minus 2017.
You have to do the math again just in case, like, nah, this can't be.
6 666. It's the sign of the beast. The devil's numbers. I mean, that is super weird. I don't even know what to say about that, but it's right there. It's right there on the wall, and it feels really intentional. Like, you don't just randomly stumble on that number. Captain McCree's tenure could have started whenever. The odds of it landing 666 years after the Axiom's voyage started is just, it's uncanny. Maybe the animators put that in as a joke, or maybe as a sign that this theory is actually right on the money. 666 years after the voyage starts, McCree becomes captain, and it's on his watch that Wally comes to cause the fall of humanity back to Earth. Or maybe, just maybe, it means the exact opposite. The Axiom isn't paradise, it's actually HE double hockey sticks. For as much of a carefree life as the Axiom seems to offer on the surface, if you look a bit closer, you start to see some cracks in its civilization. We hear passengers say, "Look, I'm tired of having the same argument over and over," while another mutters something about jealousy. And let's not forget that when we first meet our main human, Mary, she's talking to her friend about this.
Don't get me started on the date. Every hollow date I have been on has been a virtual disaster. If I had one who wasn't so superficial, you know, there are hard men out there.
We get hints that there's jealousy, arguments, bad dates on the ship, which means that problems still exist here. Also, the passengers aboard the Axiom have been so engrossed in social media, advertisements, and consumerism that they've completely forgotten about the joys of face-to-face interactions and touch. The people
Sounds
aboard the
familiar.
ship don't create anything. They don't appreciate what they have. Their dependence on technology has made them impatient and angry. Across all psychological research, there are 3 things that time and time again are proven to make people happy: close personal relationships, a challenging job or hobby, and helping others through pro-social behavior. That's it. That's the secret to raising your overall happiness meter. And those are 3 things that are decidedly lacking from the Axiom. And research has shown that the things the Axiom does offer, like more stuff, doesn't move the needle at all, except for very short temporary spikes in happiness. You'll notice that in all the shots of people on board, there are never shots of people smiling, of them laughing. There is no emotion on board except being numb. In short, the Axiom isn't paradise, it's hell, tearing people away from their loved ones, forcing them into a constant cycle of consumption, anesthetizing them with a constant onslaught of screens so there are no hobbies or challenging activities, immersing them in a self-centered wasteland. Even the Garden of Eden knew the dangers of being completely complacent. In Genesis 2 verse 15, we learned that God placed Adam in Eden so he could take care of the gardens and trees. It means that Adam was forced to do actual work like pruning and cultivating the land while he was in paradise. Sure, the Axiom might have trappings of paradise: limitless food, perpetually sunny skies, being waited on hand and foot, a carefree lifestyle, but even if you strip away the consumerist dystopia that it is, that's not what humanity actually wants. It's not what we need. That's not what science has shown psychologically makes us happy. We thrive on being challenged, by having agency in our lives, by learning, by overcoming, and by doing that for the community of people around us. So what does all of this mean for the Wally is Satan theory? Well, I think it's great. The parallels are all absolutely there, even down to the devilish 666 hidden in the captain's quarters, which, gotta admit, still really creepy, Pixar. Come to think of it, has anyone noticed that detail before? I'm sure someone must have. It didn't come up in my research. It was just, as I was writing this theory, I'm like, wait, 666? Oh, that's weird, man. And if you define paradise how the Garden of Eden did, which is being innocent and naive to the cares of the world, then the Axiom, yeah, comes pretty darn close. So on that front, I'd say, theory confirmed. Wally is the unintentional serpent that brings about the fall of humanity. But the thing is, paradise is more than just innocence and cupcake slushies. Paradise comes with an assumption of happiness, of agency, and the people on board the Axiom aren't happy, they're placated, they're numb, they're distracted, they're in an endless stasis. That is not paradise. In fact, it's pretty much the exact opposite. Looking at it from that perspective, Wally is the one that saves us from HE double hockey sticks, so that would make Wally, what? Noah? Moses? Jesus? Yeah, it's probably that one, isn't it? Wally is Jesus, overturning merchant card tables with his little hydraulic arms. Don't know how people feel about that one. Anyway, here's the long and short of this, Morty. It's a great theory that, for as absurd as it sounds, absolutely holds up. Sure, I can nitpick here and there about perspectives and what does or doesn't qualify as paradise, but in my book, it's about as close as some of the strongest theories get. So consider the Wally is Satan theory, theorist approved. Vexelius's theory finishes by saying, quote, "It wouldn't be surprising if generations later the people in Wally's universe start telling tales of a time when they lived in a place of eternal bliss, until a tempter gave a woman named Eve a plant which led to humanity's downfall." Honestly, I could see that happening too, but they'll probably skip over the part where they had to suck down the bodies of dead shipgoers as their main source of protein. But Hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
I liked the video. I did like the video, but I don't think there's enough evidence to prove that Wall-E's devil. In fact, that other than the 666 thing, I didn't see anything. Really and truly, I see what they were trying to say and what they were trying to come about with, but I didn't see it at all. You know, it didn't hold up for me. It's not one of his best theories. If you have seen the one with Neo, I think that one was a phenomenal theory that he has. But this one, this theory that they had didn't hold up to me. I didn't like it at all. But before I go, I just want to say this, because we're on the topic, right? Guys, community, PLC 85 community. And everyone that's new that's watching that made it this far, and for you guys that type in PLC 85 but not subscribe, I'm talking to you too. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit the like button too. There's always going to be evil. If you don't believe in God, no problem. There's always going to be evil or evil people that are trying to pull you down. Just remember, get rid of them. Stay away from negativity, because they will never give up in trying to tear you down. That should motivate you to always want to do more. Never give up and keep doing what you believe in and keep doing what you love. Once you're happy, stay happy and be golden. Anyway, guys, that's the video. My name is Will. Don't forget, where there's a will, there's a way. Stay gold, my friends, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit those other videos that we have. Check them out. Hit that notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and take it easy, guys.